Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. My name is Jared Lee, and I'm joined, as usual, by my lovely wife, Jamie Lee. So, Jamie, how are you doing?
I am doing well, Jared. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Lovely.
We're fresh off of our trip back to Missouri. So hopefully everybody enjoyed the Q&A last week as we pre-recorded that.
That was fun. I like doing those Q&As. Not very often do we do those, but it's really nice to kind of just like do a general, like, what does everyone think? What do we want to know about Jamie and Jared or, Disney Universal in general?
Yes.
That was the reason.
It's a nice change of pace.
Yeah.
And it's a good filler episode when, we were not able to record, obviously, when we're traveling with family, because that would be kind of... It would be a weird one. I don't know how. I guess we just do it outside. Maybe I don't know. It'd be weird. But either way, we went back and saw family. It was nice. We stayed with my brother and saw all the things of Missouri, which was not a whole lot.
Yeah,
a lot of mosquitoes.
We did. Oh my goodness, there were tons, but it was not that bad as far as like weather goes. It rained a little bit, but it wasn't hot while we were there. That was nice.
We did go. We went skating.
Roller skating.
Roller skating. Our daughter wanted to go skating. And I remember, I hadn't been roller skating. I'm pretty sure the last time I went roller skating, I believe I was like 17.
Wow.
And I didn't fall.
Good
I
for
somewhat
you. Good for
remembered a little bit of it. I wanted a rollerblade, but the kid was like, it's an extra $5. I'm like, I'm not doing that for $5.
I have my standards. So
I'm not willing to pay extra for this, but
sure.
Yeah, so we did that. That was fun. And we did see some movies while we were there. We saw Despicable Me 4, and we saw Deadpool and Wolverine, which I've actually seen twice now.
Yes, you did see it twice. I liked it more than I thought I would. So, it was enjoyable.
Yeah. Not going to spoil anything. When it comes to these movies, I have, since Endgame, I think MCU has definitely fallen off quite a bit. And Deadpool and Wolverine agrees with me. I'll just put it that way. The movie agrees with my viewpoint on that and many others. But as a movie goes, it was exactly what I was expecting it to be, which was basically a vehicle for Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds to do stuff together in the movie.
Yep.
It's not the plot's a little light. Some of the stuff in there, if you really analyze it, doesn't make a lot of sense. But Hugh Jackman is fantastic as Wolverine as usual.
Always.
There is some things about finally wearing the Wolverine outfit, Deadpool being Deadpool, cameos. It was a good time. Great. I mean, I probably would give it about a 7 out of 10.
It's pretty solid. Yeah,
it's a movie. Yeah. It doesn't mean anything for the greater MCU. It's just a self-contained movie that was fun and enjoyable. So. Yeah, I would say don't think too much about it. The plot is a little like there's some things about it where I'm like, if I really wanted to critique this, but at the same time, it was a lot of fun. So, and it's done very well. It's made like $211 million in the opening weekend. So,
yep. So that was movie talk with Jared. It's a little review for you.
little review there. Yeah, it'll easily make $1 billion, I'm sure.
Yeah.
At this point, so I guess we'll see what if they do any more Hugh Jackmans in the Wolverining. Is that a thing? Wolverining?
Wolverining? You just made it a verb.
I will say their ability in that movie to take pop songs and turn them into action beats is pretty impressive.
Yep. They did that with a Celine Dion song.
They did that with NSYNC and Madonna for sure.
For sure.
And you're like, I never would have thought of these songs as something you would do in an action scene, but it works somehow.
If it's random and weird, it's Deadpool.
Kind of.
Sure.
Which Deadpool's just Ryan Reynolds at this point.
I mean, pretty much.
But either way, if you're on the fence, if you haven't seen it, I liked it. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, me
People
too.
Might be shocked by that, but
well, okay.
I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, that's what we did, and then we're back now, and back in the swing of things. We're recording, and we do have some news this week we're going to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have another segment we haven't done in a while called "Do This, Not That." So basically, it's like remember that whole like eat this, not that sort of thing. It's like that. So we're going to tell you some things you should do instead of things you should not do.
Yeah. Yes, we are. Well, it's just a little tips episode, basically. Like, here's some tips. So do this. Don't do that.
Kind of sometimes is the point of this show.
Absolutely.
Sometimes.
That is our show.
Instead of just saying don't do that, we're offering you positive things.
Do this.
Yeah.
Not that.
Or the other way. But that's what we're going to do this week. But
yeah.
We do have some news. We're going to talk about a little bit of the reaction to the new, lightning lane system that was implemented and what that can mean for your trip if you're looking to go. There's a lot of people that have a lot of questions about it, understandably. So we're going to do our best to go over that. So if you're looking to see what you can expect and how it can affect you, we'll talk about it. So, But before we get to news, just want to remind everybody, if you're watching us over on YouTube, and if you're not, you should. If you want to watch video versions of the show, you can. If you go over to YouTube, it's at CTM Podcast over there. So please like this video and subscribe to the channel. There's also show clips over there as well on that. Or if you're just watching us on just good old-fashioned audio podcast, gathered around the radio.
Every time.
Yeah, I thought
Every time.
Should I do a different one?
Good old fashioned.
Well, it is the old. If you think about it, it's literally been around for
Sure.
like 20 years. It is the old-fashioned way to listen to a show.
I get it. It's fine.
If you're just listening on audio versions of the show, there. Whichever platform you listen on, we greatly appreciate it. Just subscribe on whatever your favorite platform is, and please leave us a review if you wouldn't mind. Helps us continue to grow the show. And if you want to contribute to the show, if you want more content or a little bit more personal interaction, you can look at joining our private group, which is Club 32. And that's our group where, like I said, we have additional content. We have Cool Kids Kitchen, which is a monthly live stream where we cook and make things like Disney or Universal inspired dishes. Usually turns out pretty well. Sometimes Jamie gets the wrong ingredients, and we do what we can with it.
Listen, it's happened like 3 times. It's happened a couple times. I don't do it on purpose, but
You don't. There was one time you were like, oh, this will work, right? And I was like, no, that's not going to. But we did it. We tried. Either way, it's a good time. But it usually turns out great. So
did you know that you cannot replace tapioca flour with almond flour? Did you know you can't do that?
I didn't know, but I assumed. If you would have asked me on the street, like, can you replace tapioca flour with almond flour? I'd probably be like, probably not.
Don't try that.
But
don't try that.
What were we making when we did that?
Pau de queijo, the cheese bread.
Oh,
Disney
that's right.
Cheese bread.
Yeah.
It did not turn out well.
It did not turn out well.
No.
It never thickened up.
Never.
Whatever it was. It was.
Ugh.
Yeah. Anyways, we have to do a live stream of that. We also have the Club 32 show, which every Tuesday we hang out and chat with everybody, which we did just before recording this, hung out and chatted with everyone. We also have the Clubhouse show, which is starting up in August. There is some posts up there in the Facebook group. So if you want to be on there, that's a show where multiple members of Club 32 can be part of the show. You can join in a live stream and we can talk about whatever you guys want to talk about.
That'll be fun.
And I just sit around. I don't know how it'll go. Either I'm refereeing or I'm arguing or agreeing with people.
All right.
Who knows? It'll be a good time either way. Plus, we have music loops. You have 25% off of CTM apparel and 1901 Candle Company products, a private Facebook group, and all that stuff. So if you want to join there, you can go to ctmvip.com. We have monthly or yearly options, and you can even do a free trial if you want to try it out and see if it's for you as well. So
Yes.
check it out there. So ctmvip.com is where you go for that. So. All right, well, let's get to our first news story, which is, of course, the rollout of the Lightning Lane multi-pass and single pass, which I still don't like the naming, but I suppose it's a little simpler, perhaps. But that is the new system that is replacing Genie Plus, and we're going to talk about all the things involved with that we know. We haven't personally used this system yet on a trip, but we've done a lot of research on it. I've actually talked to a lot of people that have used it. I've gotten a lot of feedback over the YouTube side from a lot of people that have used it. So we're going to discuss it here.
Yeah, I mean, like we've already gone over the rules and the changes that were going to be made as of July 24th. So it was like a week ago. And so we're not going to go over every single thing like that. We're just going to talk about mostly availability, because I think that's the biggest question. In terms of availability, 7 days out from your trip, 3 days out, and same day availability, because that has been greatly affected with this new advanced selection system. So so first of all, there's a lot of confusion still with this system. There's a lot of people that are still just not familiar with the fact that it changed.
Well, I actually understand that, because not everybody's plugged into the system, and you also, this is the third change you've made to this system in less than 5 years. So that's a lot of changes to this system in the last little bit. So again, if you're not if you're just some, a person that just goes randomly, you may not have any idea about this.
Yeah.
So that actually makes some sense.
Yeah.
And Disney's never been the best on like relaying that information. Like when people, and I don't really know how you would solve it. A lot of times that people buy tickets, and then by the time they buy tickets and go on the trip, there's really not a lot of like they don't share information like, hey, you need to know this very well. Sometimes people just a lot of times
have gotten better.
They've gotten better, but I think a lot of it they just rely
better.
on you to do your own research, which I get. But at the same time, you also don't want people showing up and being upset. But
yeah, if they can, if they do a better job about that, but it has in the past not been so good. But yeah, basically, so we're going to talk about availability for 7 days out. Basically, if you were staying on property, you have the best chance of getting the rides you want at the times you want.
Yes, you have a big advantage. It seems that is, which I get. And assume that would be the case. And that was kind of the case with like FastPass Plus as well.
I mean,
you had quite the
shouldn't
advantage.
It be that way?
Well, advantage, but there's a lot of people that are saying, I mean, you don't hardly have anything to choose from if you're not staying on property. And the problem with that is
which is what people were afraid of.
It's one thing when it was a free product. And it was like, okay, you pay, you're staying on property, you get it. When everybody's paying the same price for a product, that's when I understand to a degree. It's like you do have an advantage if you're staying on property, but if you're not left with really anything, if you're not staying on property, that's also not ideal.
Right.
Because then you have people that are paying that are not going to be happy.
But on the other side of that, they make it to where you don't have to pay for it until you actually already selected. So if you get to your booking day window is open, you're going to book, and there's nothing that you want available, then you don't have to buy it. So again, this is a voluntary thing. No one's forcing you to buy this system. Yes, the 3-day advance window is not going to give you as much as the 7-day for sure. If you're booking day of, then you're really not going to find a lot. But I as someone that's a semi-local and that goes a lot, it's worse for me because I go more often. So I don't think I would like purchase this as much as somebody coming on their vacation. Mm-hmm. But it makes more sense for the people that are staying on property to get it 7 days in advance.
Oh,
they need more.
I'm not arguing that point. I don't have a problem with that.
Okay.
I just think you do need to, if you're not staying on property, you should still be able to get some of the things. You know what I mean? I think it's a hard thing. I think they're going to have to release more inventory.
I think they're still testing that.
For sure.
Honestly, I think they're still going through all those kinks. Thrill Data, Thrill Data, the website they basically take all the data.
I'm aware.
Okay. Of when when selections or certain attractions will sell out for the day, what time, all that stuff. Go to their website if you are curious about any of that. But I do want to mention the 3 rides that you should definitely book first when you are booking your, I'm just going to call them fast passes because I can't not. When you book those 3 first fast passes per day of your trip. First one you're going to do is Tiana's Bayou Adventure. You will not find day of inventory at all, and you probably won't find the 3-day advanced selection either.
And if you get to ride it, who knows?
And you might get to ride it if it doesn't break down. Yeah.
It's all a lottery pick at this point.
So if you have a Magic Kingdom day somewhere in your trip and you want to ride Tiana's Bayou Adventure and you just don't want to rely on the virtual queue system, understandable, but make this the first one that you book. Bar none. Just do it.
If you want to do it.
The second one would be Slinky Dog Dash. Still, again, 7 days prior, you're going to have decent availability. By 3 days, you may have evening availability. I don't think you're going to have it afternoon or morning. And then day of, you're not going to have any. And this is just going by their data that they provided. Remy's is kind of similar to Slinky Dog, but basically day of inventory for these 3 rides that are the most popular right now with the system will be 0.
Yeah.
So don't wait till the day of to try to get these rides. They just won't happen. And you won't be able to modify to that either.
Well, I think the biggest adjustment is, and we had talked about it many times about Genie Plus, people liked it that were more locals that went a lot because you could game the system and you could day of, because everything was day of. Yeah. So you day of, you could get a lot of stuff done sometimes depending on the day and how it happened. But the problem with it was there was a lot of a learning curve for people who just weren't plugged in and knew how to use it. If you really want to look at this is essentially FastPass Plus. It's basically that exact same system with a few tweaks here and there, but they've just made it paid.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of availability, I don't know if it's the same. I mean, there were people that had issues with the availability of FastPass Plus as well. Not everybody loved that system, but it is a system that this looks very familiar, to put it that way. And I feel like it's probably one of those things where it's easier, I would say general public-wise, it's a system that makes a lot more sense. I feel like the public sentiment on this would have been much better if they never would have gone to Genie Plus and then this. If they would have done this system from the get-go, I think at this point, people probably would have just sort of accepted it and gone on. But yeah, so I mean, that's the biggest issue is the availability. And like, if you're not staying on property, you obviously are at a disadvantage, which I understand Disney wanting, like, they can do that. They can incentivize you to stay on property so you can book earlier. I just definitely think from some of the feedback I'm seeing, I mean, you also don't want to be to the point where you just can't book anything if you're not staying on property as well. Like, you gotta, it's the same thing with people who, like, you don't want your standby line to be miserable and be like, well, buy the fast pass. Like, you still have to make it a good experience for the people that don't buy that product. Same thing. You also want to make it, you don't want to make it a terrible experience for people who are not staying on property.
Right.
So it's a very fine line. I think, like you said, I think they're still working on the availability and the inventory side of things.
Yeah. And I think with the Genie Plus system, they had a lot of scheduled quote unquote drops.
Well, they used to do that with FastPass Plus as well.
So I think that we're going to see more of those come up as they figure out availability with each, booking window and everything. So, again, this is only a week old. So they're still figuring this out, but just based on what people have used so far and everything, it looks like, again, those 3 rides are the first things you're going to want to get, if you're booking, ahead of time. And, tier 1 rides are hard to come by after you use that first fast pass that day. Right. That first one you're going to get is maybe a tier 1. And if it is, it might be in the evening. But it's just going to be depending on how busy the park is, how many people have bought the multi-pass that day, all that stuff. And then single pass is a whole different animal. I mean, it's basically the same as individual lightning lane. The prices are comparable. It's the same kind of system, so I won't even talk about that, but
yeah, I mean, I think that's the biggest difference there is having that element to it. I mean, you talk about cost. I mean, you let's say you're going over to Hollywood Studios. I mean, you may be paying $25+ for what is Lightning Lane now, and then if you want to ride multi-pass, and you do the single pass. I mean, you could, if you're a family of 4, pay an extra $200 a day for essentially the system, which, I mean, is expensive. Which makes me wonder. I mean, the more that people have always talked about, like, say, Universal's Express Pass system. It is expensive, but it also is very limited. And when you get it, you can kind of just do whatever you want to do. You don't have to use an app and things like that. As Disney keeps creeping, and I assume that Lightning Lane prices are only going to increase. I have a hard time believing they're going to decrease. I think the closer that Disney gets to really going much more expensive, I just wonder at some point, and they almost did this, if they just eventually change the system yet again to go more toward what Universal does with their Express system, where it's like, it's really expensive, but it's limited, and then maybe offer it for your, if you're staying at a deluxe hotel, you get it included with your thing. Like, I've kind of come to the thinking, like, that system to me kind of makes the most sense, because if, I don't know. If you're going to charge for it, I feel like that's the best model, in my opinion, to do it with. And one of the biggest complaints we heard from Genie Plus is like having to be on your phone the whole time. Yeah. That would eliminate that issue. Right. Of not having to be on your phone, you just walk on and do it. But we'll see. But as of right now, that's the new system. Yep. Reviews are mixed, but like I said, it's only been a week, so we'll see what they do with. I think inventory is going to be the big thing. And we'll check it out next time we go. Just to check it out and do it. So yeah, I mean, for sure, you definitely can't do as much as you could have before. But I think that it's trying to find this medium between people that go all the time and the people that don't go a ton, and trying to find a system that works for everybody. But yeah, so we'll check it out and let everybody know and all that stuff. But all right, next news story we have is that Disney has announced some details about the Disney Destiny cruise ship, including a Lion King-inspired dining experience called Pride Lands. Feast of the Lion King. That sounds. I mean, feast of. Are you?
That's what it's called. When I heard that, I was like, oh, is he going to be eating?
That's what I was saying. It sounds like you're
people?
like eating Mufasa or something. What's going on here?
There's an Edna a la mode sweets, which is an incredible themed confectionery. Cafe Megara, which is named after Meg from Hercules. Cafe Merida, named after Merida from Brave, and more. This is day one of announcements about the ship, so we don't have anything else to report on. But if you want to see more, you can go to Disney Parks blog, and they'll tell you all about it.
Are you a little surprised that I see a lot of the stuff they do for cruise ships? Are you a little surprised they don't bring some of those more into the parks? Because I feel like if you did a Lion King, I'm actually more surprised they haven't done more Lion King stuff in the parks, especially Animal Kingdom. Like to this day, I am very surprised we don't have a Lion King actual ride.
Well, for this ship specifically, it's a heroes and villains themed ship. And so far, I mean, they showed you a little bit about the rooms too, and like, you know, they look nice and everything, but everything is, I don't know, this, from what I've seen, this is the least excited I've been about a cruise ship.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't appeal to me as much as some of the other ones. So I don't know. But again, don't have the information. So
true. Yes, we'll have to wait and see what else they announce, but that is some of the announcements for the Destiny. That's a. What was the last one they did? Wish.
Mm-hmm.
Wish and Destiny. Okay.
And then Treasure starts sailing the end of this year.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Next news story we have is World Princess Week is August 25th through the 31st of this year.
Yep. There is a foodie guide out of selections you can get throughout the month of August. And more announcements will be made about it later. But it's at the same, I think it's the same week every year. Just celebrating the princesses.
I have nothing to add.
Okay, great.
I don't know much about it.
One year, I think it was 2 years ago maybe, I took our daughter down for one of the days and we had some princess treats and she did this princess promenade thing in Disney Springs.
I remember you doing that. I was in the car because our son was sleeping.
Oh, that's right.
So I just hung out. I think I took a nap as well.
Probably. Yeah. She went as Belle and they walked and they did this little thing. Oh, it was so cute. It was so cute. So maybe they'll do something like that again this year. I don't know.
Knowing our daughter, probably will. She'll probably request it. So.
Probably.
All right, next story we have is that there are 3 Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party dates that have sold out. August 13th, 20th, and October 31st. So if you're looking at any of those dates, you can no longer go as of right now unless you find somebody with a ticket that wants to sell to you, I suppose. But
and it's really weird. As of us recording this on the 30th, it is 10 days until the first Halloween party date, and it is not sold out yet.
Who doesn't want to go to Halloween in August?
Well, it's also more expensive than like the subsequent day. So like August 13th is the second party, and it is sold out, but it's also $30 cheaper.
Right. Well, there's
So
that, and the first
why.
one is also usually pretty like
it's blogger heavy,
media heavy and
yeah,
stuff.
it is.
And, yeah.
Yep, for sure.
I mean, also if it's $30 more expensive, then yeah, I'm not surprised it's not sold out. So.
Yep. Absolutely.
Well, speaking of Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, Disney has released the foodie guide for the event this year. And there are some new items that we saw that looked decent.
There's a lot of new items.
Sometimes these things look good and they're not very good, and sometimes they are good.
Right.
But it just kind of depends.
Okay, so I have to talk about this one. So Casey's Corner. So they have basically the same thing in different iterations. So it's a Chipotle barbecue pork and street corn concoction. You can either get it with fries, hot dog, or mini corn dogs. And it's they just basically top it with fire roasted corn, queso fresco, and cilantro, and of course the barbecue pork. And I'm like, that looks interesting. The pictures of it look really good. I think I would try it with fries first, but it is available during regular park hours and at the party, so you can get those anytime.
You know what worries me about that one?
Heartburn?
Cilantro.
I love cilantro.
Right, but too much. Like a lot of places do too much cilantro.
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
Oh, we'll see. I will try it, but I don't think Casey's Corner is renowned for their barbecue, so it kind of makes me like we'll see scenario.
We'll see.
On its face, I don't think those things sound bad. It's just coming from Casey's Corner. I'm like,
ye have little faith.
Listen, I'm
Anyway,
not saying no faith. I'm saying they're going to have to show me that they can do barbecue.
Well, let's go to a different place then. Aloha Isle has a Dole Whip mango and is it chamoy float? It's Dole Whip mango, pineapple juice. I think it's chamoy and chili lime seasoning. I was like, I don't know if this sounds good or not. The picture looked weird. So the no from Jared.
Was this like you thought this sounded good?
I wasn't sure. The rest of them are ones that sound good to me, but this one I was like, I'm not sure about this one. So I just put it in.
I mean, on it, that just doesn't sound good to me, but I'm not a big fan of mango either, though.
Okay.
That's just me.
Golden Oak Outpost, they have a chocolate caramel tart, which has chocolate ganache, caramel sauce, caramel cream topped with Twix cookie bars. I was like, okay, I can have this. And there it is.
That one sounds good.
There it is. And that's only available during the party. And then they have these, which I'm not sure about these, sweet and spicy beignets, berry and cayenne dusted beignets with chicory coffee chocolate sauce. Yeah.
I kind of like this game. I just give reactions to food. This is up my alley.
Okay.
This is like, I feel like I'm Simon Cowell. I'm just going to judge things.
Well, this one I wasn't sure either. Like that sounds like a weird combination.
That
but
does sound
it
like
could also be really good.
You know why it sounds like a weird combination? Because it is.
Okay.
That sounds
all right.
That does not sound good.
But anyway, that's also only available during the party. Pecos Bills. Again, there's more available at these places. So I'm just basically naming the ones that I thought were interesting. Pecos Bills has a guava lemonade slushie with cheesecake foam, Halloween sprinkles, and sugar candy.
What is cheesecake foam?
It tastes like cheesecake. It's a foam on the top, I'm guessing. Only available during the party. Sleepy Hollow. Oh, Jared, you like this. Madame Leota Seance Candle. It's a red velvet cake and cookies and cream mousse.
I don't know.
Uh-oh.
That reminds me of the Gideon's cake that was cookies and cream. What is this?
No.
What is this deal with this lately?
Where's the cream cheese mousse?
Red velvet cake. Okay,
I forgot about that.
Let's have a talk real quick.
Oh no.
Red velvet cake. Red velvet cake is obviously red cake. Cream cheese frosting. That is red velvet cake.
Okay.
I don't know who had a meeting and they were like, "Hey guys, let's put cookies. Let's put Oreos in this," because if that person came into the meeting, they should have been immediately excommunicated. So now when you say cookies and cream mousse, that's not red velvet, and I, on its face, reject it.
Maybe cream cheese is more expensive.
That's probably why I don't care. That's not red velvet. I give this sad trombone.
Oh my god.
Sad trombone. Get it out of here. It's not red velvet.
Okay.
I'll try it.
It looks cool. It looks like a candle. Anyway.
Listen.
Okay. Anyway.
I just put me in these meetings. I'll let them know things.
All right.
I don't understand this.
Also at Sleepy Hollow is where you can get the new Minnie Mouse Hocus Pocus Halloween dress up slipper. And it's Minnie as Winifred from Hocus Pocus. Not mobile order available. You have to actually order in person. Limit 2 per person. And it is available while supplies last. Only during the party can you get that. It will be popular. It is cute.
I'm not gonna give my opinion on Hocus Pocus.
Okay. Well, I don't want your opinion.
Remember when we watched it?
I know how you feel about Hocus Pocus. I know how you feel. And I'm just here to say that while
it's a terrible movie.
Some of the things you said may be valid.
Children being sacrificed.
However, I still like it.
Okay. This for people.
I'm just gonna breeze past that part.
This was a couple of years ago, and I had never seen Hocus Pocus. And obviously, it goes, "You gotta watch Hocus Pocus." And we watched. I don't know. We got maybe 20 minutes into it, and I was just like, "This is horrific." To the point where Jimmy's like, "Okay, just stop." I think you wanted to stop watching it because I was just gonna keep picking at it.
Yes, you were getting mean about it.
It's a bad movie.
It's not a bad movie.
They smell
Jared.
children.
Yeah. She's a witch, bro.
And they sacrificed one in the beginning, and then they sacrificed a girl.
I didn't say it was like a gushy romantic movie. This is about witches, bro. Witches be doing stuff.
I get that. I don't understand why people celebrate the witches, though. That's the thing that gets me. I'm like, I don't understand this part of it.
They celebrate them. They do not celebrate. Well, they had a
They're
shrine.
they're very
They
popular.
had a shrine. They
Every
did.
time they
Yeah.
show up, people go crazy for
It was
them.
Salem. What do you want them to do?
No, I'm talking about like in the parks.
Oh, it's because they're funny. They're funny. Yeah, they're funny.
You say that.
I think they're funny. Listen, I watched it as like a 9-year-old, so.
Listen,
Whole
I understand
different-
nostalgia makes you think. At one point, I was like, Mighty Ducks holds up. And then I watched it, and I'm like, wait a minute. And I loved Mighty Ducks. I loved it. I was like, man,
Yeah.
I did rollerblade hockey in Missouri because of Mighty Ducks. And I got pretty decent. And then I watched it as an adult, and I'm like, do they normally give like DUI ticket to guys like go coach a hockey team?
And then do they normally drive out in the ice
Yeah.
in a limo?
Not only that, he drives a limo on the ice and assaults children.
He did.
And then
He
he
did.
sees, hey, by the way, hey, you guy, I'm going to date your mom and you're going to
Pretty
like
much.
it. And you're like, my
Pretty much.
gosh, this guy is just aggressively like.
These are 90s movies, bro. This is what we grew up with. And it was amazing.
I mean,
Enough
yeah.
Said. Enough said.
They rollerblade through malls,
I've seen-
knocking people into fountains. I'm like,
That's
this
true.
is assault.
That's true.
So I listen. I picked your movie, even my movies that I loved. I'm like that doesn't hold up. The worst thing with the Mighty Ducks is the fact that Gordon Bombay, as a like 8-year-old child, like he missed a shot and basically his entire town shunned him. I'm like, man, it's very aggressive.
Very aggressive.
All right, we'll go back to are we gonna talk about more of these treats?
There's two more. I want to talk
Okay.
about. That's it. Okay, so at Liberty Square Market, there's a skull blondie. It looks like a skull, but it's maple blondie with caramel sauce.
Okay, that sounds good. I'll give that one an applause.
It kind of looks like that pizza skull at Universal,
Mm-hmm.
but this one is sweet.
Okay.
And then over at Friar's Nook, there's a spicy pork spring roll with pineapple and I don't know, scallion dust. That's kind of weird, but okay, stop. Only during the party. But like they have options at Village House and Storybook Treats and Cosmic Rays and I mean pretty much everywhere. I mean even the sit down restaurants will have special menu items, which I didn't mention here, but there's a ton of items to look through. So again, I will put the link in the show notes. But yeah, lots to get.
True. Some are good. I think a lot of
Some are not.
I would say a lot of times they're not. It depends.
When you're made in mass,
Right.
production. Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to pick and choose. There is a funnel cake that looked good until they said peanut butter. And I was like, well, bye-bye.
I mean, I can eat peanut butter, but I don't like peanut butter on much stuff.
Okay.
And it
Fair
doesn't sound good on a. See, that's my thing about funnel cakes. You don't have to do anything else to a funnel cake.
Oh, little,
They're perfect as they are. There's just you fried dough and you got powdered sugar. Just leave it at that.
well, what about like do you like cinnamon sugar or like chocolate sauce or
Okay,
something?
I'll give you that. You can do some cinnamon sugar on them and chocolate sauce, but these ones that have all this extra stuff, I'm like, it's just a play of diabetes. There's just
Diabetes.
Wilford Brimley
Okay,
would be
fair
like,
enough.
don't eat that.
Okay.
It might be good, but I mean, it's usually, it's just a lot of stuff. Anyways, I'm a simple man. I require a simple funnel cake.
Okay.
All right. Well, I think we have a poll time. Do we have a poll time, Jamie?
Yes, poll time.
It's poll time. Tell us what you think. Every opinion counts. Come on and link. We're discussing it all. We're taking a stance. Poll time's the segment. Let's give it a chance.
Thank you. I love that song
I don't know why.
every time. It
Listen,
gets me.
guys, give poll time a chance.
That's right. All right. So my poll time this week, I asked, what is your preferred way to pay for your Disney World vacations? And
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Dogecoin.
Sorry.
No. I said you may choose more than one answer. And a overwhelming 59% said Disney Visa or other credit card with rewards or points. 29% said Disney gift cards. 10% said debit card. And 1% said either like Venmo, PayPal, Cash App, something like that, or other. And some people said that they did a combination of debit and credit and all that stuff. So basically credit cards are still pop. It's a popular.
I was gonna say, what's the other?
I honestly, it could have been like cryptocurrency,
I mean,
Bitcoin. I'm just kidding. I don't know.
I don't think they take Bitcoin, but
I don't go. Well, I mean, like you can't pay with cash. I guess you get a gift card with the cash.
Listen, I'm
so
deep in Shibcoin.
I don't even know what you just said. What?
I don't know if you know this or not, but you're married to a millionaire.
I am?
I have a couple of million of Shibcoin.
Okay. That again, still have no idea what that is.
It is worth .0000001. So I don't know. It's like the fractions of a penny, but I got it.
Oh
if it ever takes
my.
off, there'll be signs.
Stop.
There'll be signs.
Okay.
Like, Jared, why are you wearing a full Darth Vader costume during the live stream? Like, I don't know. Just thought it'd be a good sign.
A lot of the comments were about getting discounted gift cards. So like a Target, you can get 5% off of Disney gift cards if you have the red card. Costco will have deals up to like 10% off of gift cards. A lot of people use Disney Visa for the rewards and everything. So yeah, those are the two most popular, and for good reason. Especially you can get discounts on those gift cards, man. That really helps.
Yeah.
It's little, like it is, but if you, let's say you got $1,000 in Disney gift cards, you'd save what? I can't do the math. $50?
At 5%, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, one thing I will say, because there was that thing going around, I would do the digital cards. Remember the scam?
Oh yeah.
Because there were some people they were
hardcore.
scamming physical cards somehow, so people were buying them and there's nothing on them, and a lot of times didn't have any recourse. But the digital ones, I mean, it gets emailed to you. So
right, and when you get those, always go to DisneyGiftCards.com and register those cards so they're in the system in case you ever lose one or forget how much is on it and all that stuff.
yes,
Yeah,
agreed.
But anyway, so that is my poll time this week. So thank you everybody for participating, and I will have a new poll next week.
Yes, and if you want to be a part of the next poll time, you can do that in two ways. You can join the Capture the Magic Facebook community on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
I know that's a shock. And also over on Instagram, at Cap the Magic is where you can find the account, and Jamie posts us in the stories over there.
Oh, I do.
You can vote in either or place.
Righto.
Thank you, British Jamie.
Mm-hmm.
And that'll be it for poll time. So let's move on to our main segment that we're going to talk about, which is Do This, Not That.
Do this. Not that.
I don't have a theme song for it.
Aw.
But we can play this. You're welcome.
You're silly.
I think I'm just going to keep a song like that on just to have just randomly play it.
Okay.
It makes a lot of sense. Okay. What this is, like we said earlier, the show like Eat This, Not That.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that. So we're giving you tips through, not just telling you don't do this, but do this.
Do this instead.
We're doing it.
Do this. Not that.
It's constructive.
Yeah.
We're not just tearing you down. I mean, you pervert. I don't know you listening, but imaginary you that we're talking to right now.
Oh my. You're explaining.
Getting really theoretical here.
You're explaining.
Whatever. Fine, we're just going to go into this.
Okay.
So the first one we have is, again, this is Do This, Not That. So buy Lightning Lane individual pass for
Single pass.
single pass.
Terminology, Jared.
It's so simple. It's so simple.
It's so simple.
For Rise of the Resistance, and don't rope drop it.
Yes. The reason for this is that Rise of the Resistance will, not always, but sometimes it will have a delayed opening at park opening. And you won't be able to even get in line right when the park opens for rope drop. But if you buy a Lightning Lane, you kind of have more of a guarantee that you'll get to ride it. So if this ride is really important to you to ride, I suggest that you buy the single pass for it.
I was going to say the caveat being if it's a ride that you're like, some people go on trips they have to or they're wanting to ride a single ride.
Yeah.
If it's that important to you, yeah, I would probably go this route.
I picked this one specifically because of its problems with, sometimes being down in the mornings. So that's happened more than once for sure.
Listen, sometimes it stays up late. It doesn't like to wake up. It just needs a little extra
Honestly,
time.
it's like the college kid of Hollywood Studios.
They can't find Kylo. He's in there. He's moping somewhere in there.
It's so true.
Kylo, where are you at? Oh, let's do it. And you're like, okay.
But yeah, again, since you can buy this ahead of time, 7 days out or 3 days out for your trip, This is one of those that you have to buy quickly as well because it does go fast. So
It does.
Yeah.
It is a popular ride.
it is.
Next one we have, and this one's the inverse of that one. So we told you
Yes.
maybe it's going to spend money on this versus this one
Yeah.
is to rope drop Animal Kingdom and do the big rides early, but don't buy Lightning Lane Multipass if you want to save some money because you kind of don't need to buy it.
So I know some may not they may not agree with us saying this, but from what we've seen, what we've experienced at Animal Kingdom, it doesn't seem like if you get there early enough, you get that rope drop and early entry, if you have access to that, you can get a lot of the big rides done quickly and you won't even need multi-pass. Especially if you rope drop Flight of Passage. First of all, that's a single pass, so you don't have to worry about that. But if you do that, if you rope drop that and then get Kilimanjaro Safaris down and then do Expedition Everest, I mean, you've done
There's not a lot of stuff to do in Animal
a lot
Kingdom.
of the rides.
Yeah.
And you really won't have to ride. You have to wait much. Again, depends on the time of the year and all that stuff. But if you wanted to pick one park not to do multipass on, I would choose this one.
Or you can even go later in the day. And
Yeah.
the park is kind of, a lot of people leave to go other places. So you could have,
Yeah.
you could do it that way as well. But yeah, I think
Yeah.
if there's any park you don't need multipass for, it would be Animal Kingdom.
Yep, I agree.
So, all right, next one we have is visit Disney World during the 4th of July and don't go in October.
And that sounds crazy, right? Well, the last couple of years, 4th of July weekend has been relatively not busy at all. Like compared to Octobers are so busy right now. Like every year, Octobers are busier and busier.
Yeah.
It's also not as hot in October and there's the Halloween parties and stuff going on. So I get that. And there's like some school breaks in there. But 4th of July, there's a lot of blockout dates for annual pass holders. Tickets are more expensive. So it tends to be a holiday where you have a lot of like celebration with 4th of July and stuff going on, but it's just not, the crowds just aren't there. So if I had to choose, I'd probably pick 4th of July because my birthday's on the 7th too. So it could be a birthday celebration too. But that's just me.
Jamie's not biased at all. Well, we did go. We were there like the weekend after the 4th, and it's just interesting how there is a shift in how people are traveling now. Like a lot of people are willing to go at off-peak times versus years ago. I mean, the summer was always the busiest time because that's when you just took your vacations.
Yeah.
And a lot of stuff Disney has done, again, with like it's more expensive to go during certain times, and people just are typically not going during those times. So if you're willing to pay them, pay the higher rate and go, like the day we were there was nothing in Magic Kingdom over an hour-long wait, which is kind of crazy. But the downside to that is it's really hot.
Yeah.
And so you do deal with that. But if you're wanting to deal with like maybe less crowds, you want to go for a holiday, 4th of July actually isn't a bad one the last couple of years.
It's not. And October is crazy busy.
But it has better weather.
I mean,
Usually-
it's a trade-off.
Usually better weather.
Yep. The nighttime is usually not as bad.
That is true.
Yeah.
All right, next one we have is take advantage of early entry in the hours leading up to park closing instead of being in the park during the busiest times, which is typically like noon to 5 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel like this one it should be kind of common knowledge, but
Right. I guess there's just a lot of people that do park opening to park close, and I personally am just not one of those people. But if you want the best crowd levels and if you're there when it's hot, the best weather, do not be there from 12 to 5 or even 12 to 6. It's too hot.
yeah, I know people do
Too
it.
busy.
I know that people go rope drop to park closed. I feel like there's certain wards in insane asylums that should be assigned to these people. Listen, good for you, but I was like, I want nothing to do with that. That sounds terrible. I would like a midday break. That's how we've always kind of done it, especially with kids. It just seems to, like, I need a break. I know the kids need breaks, so I'd much rather would.
Unless we're going out for just one night and we've got a lot of stuff going on, then it's just whatever we have to do.
And I'm still not happy about it.
Right. Grumpy grumps.
I'm just be like, I don't want to do this, but during those times.
Yep.
Especially in the summer. Those are the hottest for sure.
real.
And a lot of people get to the parks later too.
True.
So a lot of sometimes people just don't show up until around noon. So it's obviously the busiest and the hottest. And
Yeah.
anyways. All right, you say the next one.
Okay. So you should make dinner reservations at the hotel you're staying at. Don't, or maybe not as much, travel to other hotels for reservations. So basically what we mean is take advantage of the restaurants at the hotel you're staying at. You can travel to other hotels for meals, and that's okay. Like, it's just that utilize the hotel amenities is basically what I mean by that.
If you're going to go to a lot of other hotels, it is going to take up more time.
The commute and like getting there if you don't have a car and all that stuff.
Right. So I think if time is a factor, you're wanting to get the most out of your time. Limiting the amount of times you go to different resorts will help you.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, obviously you can use Disney, the minivans if you want. Just some added cost, but it'll get you there.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, that was just kind of just thinking, like if you're booking deluxe hotels, let's say you're staying at a deluxe hotel and you stay at like Beach Club, but you never like dine at Cape May or Beaches and Cream or anything, and you only did at other hotels done at other hotels, I'd be like, well, why are you doing that?
Right.
Eat where you're staying. So.
Yeah. I would agree with that most of the time.
Yeah.
All right. Next one we have is have grocery delivery to your hotel versus spending, say, $5 every time you need water or soda in the parks, and or even going to the store yourself. So I can tell you right now, if you're going to go to Walmart, that's the closest one to Disney World, Godspeed to you. It is... I don't want to do it. It's terrible. It takes a lot longer than you assume. So, again, if time is a factor, and it's
money.
Well, and it's like it's really not that much more expensive. Depending, you've got the Amazon Prime. You have, I know there's Garden Grocer. I think Walmart even delivers on sometimes. I don't know if they do it at the resorts or not.
I just meant in lieu of spending the $5 for a bottle of water every time.
Right,
That's what
for
I
sure
meant.
that, and like the time it would take to go to the store yourself. Like grocery
Yeah.
delivery isn't that much more expensive, but you will save a lot of money by having water and drinks and snacks on hand, especially if you're flying in.
Yeah.
If you're driving in, you might, you can carry more stuff. But
Right.
yeah, I definitely think that's something I would do for sure versus, buying a soda in the park for sure.
Yeah.
Or even water.
Yeah.
But all right, next one we have is make a late character breakfast reservation versus making a character dining reservation.
Yeah, dinner. I would this is just my preference, and I think you might agree with me, Jared. I would much rather have like breakfast at like, I don't know, let's say Topolino's, go at like 11:30 and have breakfast there versus going to like Chef Mickey's and having dinner at like 6 or 7 p.m.
Yes, I would agree. Yeah.
First of all, it's cheaper to do breakfast, and you can do like a breakfast lunch. So it's almost like you're having an early lunch. So you cover that meal. And I feel like doing dinner reservations, character meals, especially outside the parks, is such a time waste. It's such a time suck that you could be spent like riding rides and experiencing lower crowds, watching fireworks.
Right.
That's just my opinion. Now, again, obviously, if there's somewhere you want to eat specific food, specific characters, obviously do that. But I don't know. That's just my opinion. That's just our opinion.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, it's cheaper to do the breakfast ones versus dinner ones.
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah.
So, yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
But all right, next one we have is stay at a Disney World Resort hotel versus don't stay off-site too far away. So,
Yeah.
this goes into a whole conversation. We've done episodes on this about off-site versus on-site. Like it's a whole, it really depends budgets and time, and do you have a car? Are you going to rent a car? There's a lot of variables that go into this. Mm-hmm. A lot of times, like staying off-site can be cheaper. I will put it that way. It can also seem cheaper up front, and versus it's not cheaper when you really start adding things up. But especially if you're stayed too far off-site, where it's just so much of a drive to get into where you're going, things like that. So I think a lot of times it's still like you can find deals to stay even at the value resorts at Disney where it's cheaper than staying off-site.
Yep.
And it may be easier because you have the transportation side, you get the benefits, especially now if you're going to do Lightning Lane, you get to book early and stuff like that.
That one is exactly why.
Yeah.
If you really, or if those lightning lanes are important to you, you have to stay on property. You just do.
Yeah. Now, if you've got a big group, it may make sense to rent a whole house that may be a little farther away. Again, a lot of variables go into this, but a lot of times if you really start looking at it, and with Disney, you don't have to pay for parking, which is nice. A lot of the hotels offsite, you will have to pay for parking. A lot of times they have that stinking resort fee as well. So
I hate those.
Oh, they're terrible.
Them.
But it may make more sense more times than not to just stay on Disney property, depending on all the stuff you want to get done.
Absolutely.
It can,
I mean, and also you can still stay off site. When I say not too far away, I mean like Good Neighbor resorts. They still get early entry into the park. So that's what I meant by like staying like, you can stay off property, but like Disney Springs, you know what I mean? Like those hotels.
It kind of depends though. Cause like, I mean, if you're also say you're going to do Universal, I mean, a lot of people will stay and we've done it. We stay at Universal hotels and then go to Disney. You can't, it's like a 20-minute-ish drive. It's not the easiest thing if you're say you're wanting to rope drop, Magic Kingdom, especially in things like it's more of a drive there to do it. So it depends on, again, your situation and how all the stuff you're wanting to do on your trip, whether it's just Disney or if it's a mix of things. But yeah, like I said, a lot of times it can make sense if you're just doing a Disney only trip to just stay on property a lot of times. But all right, next one we have is have at least one rest day during your vacation versus going open to close all days of your vacation.
Caveat to this would be if your vacation is 3 or less park days. So if you're doing 3 park days, you could get by without doing a rest day. But if you got that 4th park day in there, you're going to want to build in a rest day. That's just. I
mean, back when we lived in Missouri, like we would go for a week. We always would have a rest day built in, especially once we had. I mean, it's one thing if it's just like it was like you and I, but like with kids, I think it's a good idea to have a rest day in there. Obviously, it depends on. I mean, everyone's a little bit different. You could always just, you could have a day that's not as busy. You could have a couple like that where you just do half days in the park or stuff like that. But we always found it was not about have a resort day, have a day where you just go do something else in Orlando, maybe. Yeah. Stuff like that.
I mean, I can remember as a kid when I would come with my family, there would be times where we would come for a week. We would do like, I don't know, 3 days, like just real hardcore, just get as much stuff as we want to get done. And then we would take a rest day. And then the next 2 days, it was like we would go into the parks for like 2 hours just to get like 1 or 2 rides done. And then we'd go back to the hotel because we were just exhausted.
Yeah.
I can remember just like bailing. Just we're like, we want to go back to the hotel. Let's go swimming. You know what I mean? Like we still had a great time. It's just we just kind of burned ourselves out on going like too hard for so long. So anyway.
I can see that.
Yes.
All right. Next one is use your phone, Apple Watch, or old Magic Band versus buying a new Magic Band Plus. Mm-hmm. I do not understand. I never have understood the allure of the Magic Band Plus. I don't get it. I don't think it's worth the extra money. Mm-hmm. Even now, even paying extra for a Magic Band, like I think I would just use my phone 95% of the time, if not more. I just use my phone.
Yeah, I mean, I use my Apple Watch a lot, and it functions almost exactly like the Magic Band. There's only a few ways I can't use it. But the Magic Band Plus, it did not fit. I used to have one and it fell off of me because it didn't fit very well. It wasn't as flexible because of the battery and everything in it. Mm-hmm. We used the light up feature, like with the shows, like once. The statues that would like play music or talk to you, we did that maybe a handful of times. But like, it's $50 for a Magic Band Plus. And I was like, I'm just going to use my old Magic Band 2s. They work the same way without the extra features to it. And I'm happy. Like if I have to use a Magic Band. And I mean, I know there's like a lot of excitement with that. Like, buying Magic Bands for your trip and everybody gets it. But that's another extra cost of like a family of 4. Like, are we spending, another $200? Right. On Magic Bands that you may not even care about. I don't know. That's again, this is our opinion and kind of what we feel, but with everything can be done with your phone, your Apple Watch now, like you don't really need
Listen, the whole show is our opinion, but it is a fact that
I have to keep saying that.
Buying a Magic Band Plus is just, in my opinion, it's just foolish. Why would you do it? It makes noises at statues sometimes. Okay. It makes light up things during fireworks shows. Why are you looking at your Magic Band during a fireworks show?
You're being mean.
I'm not being mean. In my opinion, again, my opinion here, I've always felt I was like it doesn't do anything else other than that.
For you, yeah. And again, this is our opinion, but for you, like those features don't appeal to you.
What was the best part of the fireworks show? I looked at my Magic Band and it turned green. That was fun. I don't know. I just think it's kind of pointless. Again, getting a Magic Band, like obviously if you have little kids, they don't have phones, or maybe they do. I don't know. At least our kids, they don't have phones.
If for kids.
But I'm not going to get a Magic Band Plus. Like, I always thought it was silly, and then when you got it and started using it, I was like, really? Like, this is it? Like, it didn't work most of the time?
My biggest complaint, like I said, is it just didn't fit me right.
And they really don't even
falling off.
advertise it much anymore.
Yeah, they really don't. I mean,
honestly,
they come out with a limited edition stuff all the time, but
I think they're just like, it didn't really catch on. Like, they didn't do anything. It was just two little things, and I was like, oh, surely they'll build out from there. And they
But
didn't.
like new stuff that they're put like features on. Oh, and also Magic Band Plus features. Like I never hear about that anymore.
I don't.
It's just a new way to sell a different edition Magic Band to everybody.
What? That's so
Dare
true.
I say that?
That's very true. All right, next one is.
Can I do this one? Because this one pertains to me and not you, really.
Sure.
Okay.
It's pretty judgy, but go on.
I said, so wait to buy mouse ears until you get to the parks. Don't buy them before your trip on DisneyStore.com. Now, this may seem weird. Like, why? So I'm very particular about what my mouse ears look like.
Me too.
Right?
Totally.
Very particular, like placement of bows, placement of things, the ears, everything. I have to try them on first. Now, sometimes I can't. Sometimes I have to buy them online because they're just not available anywhere else or in the parks, or I can't get them quickly enough. In that case, I just have to do it. But I will choose to probably wait until I get to the store so I can make sure they don't hurt my ears, don't hurt my head, aren't too tight, placement's right, stuff like that. So that is the only thing. That's not a Jared one.
Totes McGoats.
Totes McGoats.
Totally agree with everything you just said.
Something to keep in mind.
What?
It's funny.
I have nothing to add.
You have
to this.
nothing to add.
I'm going to say.
And
I feel like if I said I wore mouse ears, nobody would believe me anyways. And that's my cross to bear.
Okay.
That nobody believes me on things.
Well, it's all right.
All right, the last one I have here, and I full-heartedly believe this one, is make at least a loose plan for each day and versus not trying to plan for every second of your day.
Yeah.
I feel like, in my opinion, in life, I feel like it's good to have an outline.
Outline's good.
Yeah, if you're trying to say we're going to be here by 9:45 and then here by 9:52 and then by 10:15, I'm like, nope, I'm done. I'm just going to run. I'm just going to wander off. Like, I feel like that's just, nobody's going to have a good time. So
It's impossible to stick to something very rigid. And like, do you want your trip to be so planned out like that and scheduled? I mean, personally, I don't. I may have in the past, but now I'm just like,
Well,
you miss a lot of good stuff when it's so scheduled.
I understand wanting to get the most out of your trip and
I
your money you're
understand that
spending.
too.
I understand
I understand that.
But at the same time, you also, like, one of the points it should be to go on a vacation is to, like, spend time with your family, have memories, like, do things. And I feel like a lot of times you obviously, like, you have to have some sort of schedule, but I feel like you want to kind of have a happy medium there where you're, like, on a schedule, but you're really enjoying it, or at least trying to. And, I've seen people in parks, like, you can just see them down to the minute, and they look miserable. Like, they're just trying to make and it's like, there's so many variables, too. It's like, what if a ride goes down? What if there could be a lot of things that could affect your time, and then immediately this throws into, like, a stressful, like, almost panicked situation. Sometimes I think, especially if you've gone a few times on like to theme parks and things like that, you kind of learn just to be like, well, okay, like that we want to do this, but especially with our kids, sometimes we get in there and all of a sudden our son wants to ride a certain ride, and we're like, well, okay, let's do that.
Remember the aquarium and the Living Seas, the Finding Nemo ride? After that, remember that one time they wanted just to look at the fish and the dolphins. We did that for like an hour, and it was fine. Yeah. But, we weren't super strict about it. So,
yeah. I mean, again, to each their own.
But
I feel like you set up for have a little bit of a better time. You just sort of like have an outline. I've always told people this, and I think it comes into like when you have like a list of things to get done for, like, say, your day. It's like have a weighted list. So it's like, here's the top 3 things are things I really want to do. The bottom things are like not as important. So it's like you try and hit those top ones, and if you get a chance to get those other ones in there, that's good. But it's like at least that way, it's a weighted system to where you're trying to hit the things you want first, and then maybe you get to all of them, maybe you don't, but at least you like had it like ranked or weighted in that way.
Yeah.
And try and have fun.
Have fun. Hey, that's the most important thing. Have fun on your trips, and these tips will help you do that.
I mean, I think so.
I think so too.
Yeah, this guy does too.
Okay.
I don't know who he is, but he's AI. Anyways, that's our list.
Yep, that's it.
That's the one. It do this, not that.
Absolutely.
So, all right.
Do this. Check us out on social media.
Good segue.
Thank you.
But don't
not check us out.
right. And don't worry about double negatives.
That's right. Oh,
But follow us at Cap the Magic everywhere except for TikTok, which is
right.
at Capture the Magic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you can also find us on YouTube.
Yes.
Like was at CTM Podcast on YouTube. We have video versions of the show there. And if you want, I do daily videos over on Cap the Magic YouTube channel. Do like Epic Universe construction updates, Disney World, Universal, Epic Universe news, and even some pop culture stuff, including movies and things like that. So you can check it out over there at Cap the Magic. And we also have other shows on the network. We have the CTM Universal show where we talk about Universal Studios. That currently is twice a month. And the next one there will probably be next week.
Yes, it will.
Okay, that's what. But once Epic Universe opens, or maybe up and when it's getting close to opening, that eventually will become a weekly show. There'll just be enough content there to do that. And we also have Trip Tales, which is Jamie's Trip Report show. When's the next one there you got coming out?
Not this coming Monday, but the one after that, it should be.
Okay. That's a good resource if you're going on a trip because you get firsthand info from people who just got back from a trip. And
a reminder, I'll have 2 episodes in August come out. So,
well, there you go.
There you go.
Two for the price of 2.
Okay.
Or 1. I don't know. All right. Either way, that's going to do it for the show. So thank you, everybody, for listening and or watching. And thank you, Jamie, for joining us.
Thank you.
And as Jamie always likes to say,
we will see you in the parks.
bye.